it's Dr. Deborah Thompson here from One Health Lessons, and it is such a pleasure to see you today. We are live on LinkedIn, and we are also live on our YouTube channel. But if you want to comment, if you want to contribute to the conversation, if you want to actively participate, you need to be on our LinkedIn page. If you don't know how to do that, go to linkedin.com. Go to One Health Lessons, and then from there you'll be able to contribute to the conversation. Now, this is in celebration of Webinar Wednesday. So happy Webinar Wednesday, everybody. And this actually was spawned by a conversation that the One Health Lessons intern team had. You see, in the past with Webinar Wednesdays, what we wanted to do was interview people and then post online and post on Wednesdays. But we wanted to have audience participation. So with that, we wanted to get started on some LinkedIn Live events and share to our YouTube channel, of course. And please, everybody who's participating in the LinkedIn channel, let us know, where are you calling in from? I see somebody from Somalia. Welcome to our friend in Somalia. Where else are you all from? I am calling in from the United States, right outside of Washington, D.C. And our special guest today is Rick Ornelas. He is calling in from Texas. And what an interesting conversation we are going to have. I had the great pleasure of meeting Rick, like a few weeks ago, because of Allison Little, a mutual connection. And she sent us an email saying we should know each other.
Yep, that's exactly what she did.
So Rick, in case you all don't know, Rick is a networking expert. When I was speaking to him, I was saying, whoa, I'm taking so many notes. I need to share this knowledge with others in the One Health space. And that's the purpose of Webinar Wednesdays. So welcome, everybody, to give everybody on the YouTube channel an idea of where we're calling in from. So like I said, we have Somalia, we have Iran, we have Nigeria, Pakistan, United States, Florida specifically in the United States, Barcelona, Canada, somebody from Montreal, my old stomping grounds, Nigeria, Peru.
Wow. That's all over the world.
Yes, I love this. I love this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is so exciting.
There's people from everywhere.
People from everywhere. And, you know, the beautiful thing is that we're all working towards a common goal, right? We want to prevent and solve health problems, and we're coming from different backgrounds. So can you put in the chat box, everybody, what discipline are you coming from? Wow. And I see somebody from Malawi joining us as well. That's wonderful. And Kenya and Canada. It's from Nepal. So what disciplines are we representing? As most of you know, I am coming from the veterinary point of view, but I see somebody from veterinary microbiology in India. That is exciting.
Yeah.
So while people are starting to introduce themselves, and I see another microbiologist, which is wonderful, let's hear from Rick. And I know that you have a special presentation to introduce yourself and introduce the concept of networking so that everybody can benefit here. And keep in mind, everybody, when we take that One Health approach, we have to have people from different backgrounds, right? In order to achieve our goals. That's the whole purpose of a One Health team. So with that, how on earth do we reach out to people outside of our own niche discipline? Let's hear from Rick to find out. So I will have you.
Yeah, just before you actually go, Deborah, if we can for a sec, before you go to the presentation, I want to say, everyone, I'm excited to be here to share what I've learned over the years. And I understand that many of you are in the early stages of your career, or you're about to finish school. And just know that the learning never stops. Okay. So just because you're like, oh my gosh, school is going to be over in spring and I'm done. Those that I've been coaching for for 7 years, coaching entrepreneurs. I help them get clarity and guidance so they can grow and scale their businesses. And I come from the corporate world and have grown startups and everything and had success there. But I tell you this to say that those that continue to learn and grow are the ones that have the most success. So just because you're early on in your career and you're doing a lot of learning now, just know that if you're 30 years into your career like I am, that you always want to keep learning, keep growing, keep networking, doing all these steps. And I've learned that, just realized that I've learned that in those dark valleys of failure, and not just the peaks of success, but those dark valleys of failure that I've had in my journey. So
yeah,
I think that's important.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I say my failures, and there have been many, have been learning opportunities. And you look back and say, wow, that forced me to learn a new skill, even though it was incredibly painful to get through those times. So I hope that you also speak, Rick, about iSpark Change during the presentation. Or do you want
I can, yeah, I can highlight iSpark Change a little bit just to tell everyone what we're about.
Awesome. I think that'd be wonderful. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's go forward. And remember, everybody, you have the opportunity to ask questions. I'll ask those questions at the very end, but I'm going to be collecting them throughout the time together. So, Rick, the floor is yours, and I look forward to learning, as well as everybody else on this channel from across the planet. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much, Deborah. So yeah, please put your questions in the comments and I'll try to spot them. I know there's a little delay on LinkedIn, so the question may take a second to pop up for us to see it. But today we're going to talk about networking, because networking is a crucial skill to practice from the beginning of your career. I know I was introduced to networking a long time ago, and it's far more important than it was today. So as far as why, let me see if I can increase, there we go. Okay, why is networking important today? We're in a much smaller world than we were, and the pandemic has amplified all of these things. There's far more global accessibility, as we can see from everybody that is on this webinar, that you're from all over the world. And with that comes increased competition for jobs, increased competition for attention, time, resources, and your future depends on it. So I remember, long time ago when I graduated college, university, back then you would do some on-campus interviews, you would go to some interviews in the general area that you resided in, and pretty much that was it. And I remember I grew up in Los Angeles, California, and went to school there to the University of Southern California. And I remember having an interview with this great position that I was really interested in, but it was an hour away through LA traffic, which is some of the worst in the world. And I did not take the position because I said, I don't want to sit on the freeway for an hour both ways every day. Today, you wouldn't have that problem. And especially in the past few years, because now through remote work and Zoom and platforms like this, people can work from anywhere. So those of you that are in Nigeria or Colorado or Peru or Montreal, the different areas that you're in, know that you have access to jobs, to resources, to all of that all over the world. That it is not just in your local area. So when it comes to networking, what do you all know about networking? What is your opinion of networking, or what do you view networking as? So let's see if you can comment on what you view as networking. Do you view it as connecting with other people? Do you view it as learning about other people? What do you view it as? And I don't know if there's just a delay in the chat or the chat has gone cold, but I'm not seeing any responses.
Yeah. I think that there's a little delay in the technology here, but I'm going to venture a guess and see.
Well, there's one.
Heather says it's necessary, but it feels icky.
But it feels icky. There you go. Well, we're going to help with that. We're going to help with removing the icky feeling.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling.
Yeah, that isn't a good feeling. Anyone else? Is there anyone else? So networking means linking up with fellow professionals, not necessarily in one field. That's true. Okoli, very true. And connecting with other people, but sometimes it feels fake. That's true. That's true, Heather. It can feel fake. And we're going to talk about how to make sure that it doesn't feel fake and that it doesn't feel forced. And Sanaya says, if I pronounce that right, forgive me, or wrong, expanding my horizon of education experience. I love that definition because that is at the true heart of networking. It's not just networking. When I looked at networking 30 years ago, I looked at networking to get what I could get. I wanted to meet people so I could benefit myself. And it's not that anymore. It is about expanding your horizon of education and experience. So those are all some great definitions. Thank you all for your participation. So answer this question. Do you feel, is there anyone that is off limits or unreachable? When I say anyone, I mean anyone. Anyone in the world. Like, do you think that there is anyone who's off limits or unreachable in the world? Or do you think that you can connect with anyone from anywhere? While we're waiting for some answers on that, Akokonyu says, networking means accessing a need, information, or solution in a specific area. Awesome. Networking, in my own view, with interacting and reaching different personalities, ideas, and opinions as regards to discipline and dreams. That's awesome, Ikenna. That is a great definition. And that is, I can see that you guys have a kind of that one health mentality of, you know, a broad horizon and looking at things from different aspects, because having that diversity of thought will provide you better solutions, and having that open mind will give you answers. So do you all think that anyone is unreachable? I don't see many answers in there, but I'm going to tell you no. Even famous icons, even you can think of some of the biggest celebrities in the world. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, probably, I mean, like top 5 maybe celebrities in the world. Is he unreachable? The answer is no. And I'll share an example of how that's not true. So Kimia says, finding others who are following the same goal as you, but not necessarily from the same background, learning and working. Awesome. And David says, you can at least get a message to most people. Yep, that's very true. No one is off limits except he that makes a deliberate effort to stay off the grid. All right, good point. Good point. If someone is completely offline, then they are going to be a little more challenging, but still not impossible. Still not impossible. So one of my favorite scenes for any of you that have seen that movie, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, with Ben Stiller, where he's trying to find the photographer and he goes and travels all over the world, and this guy is completely off the grid, and he tracks him down, going to like multiple countries, and he's still able to track him down, and finally finds him like on the top of the Himalayas. And that's like my definition of networking, is that yes, you can find anyone no matter where they are in the world. So let's get back to the presentation. All right. Here's a quote from an expert on networking, Bob Berg. The single greatest people skill is a highly developed and authentic interest in the other person. And that's at the foundation of what I want to talk about today. Okay. That's at the foundation, because as we just said, the reality is you can connect with anyone you want to. It just takes desire and some effort, and sometimes a lot of effort, but you can. So what you want to do is you want to determine what your specific goal is. Who do you want to meet? Is it that you want a certain job, or you want to work for a specific company? Do you want to meet someone like Rick Ornelas, the founder of iSpark Change? Whatever your goal is, that's where it starts. And then you want to have a highly developed and authentic interest in that individual. So if you were trying to meet me, then you would want to find out, okay, well, who is Rick Ornelas? What is he all about? What is his mission? What is his business about? What are they focused on? One of the reasons that Allison Little connected me with Deborah is because Allison knew those things about me, because we had connected. I was a guest on her podcast. She had learned about me, and so she knew what I was all about. And so she realized, hey, you know what? This is going to be someone that's great to connect with Deborah. And that's how we built that relationship. And that's why I'm in front of you today, because Allison took the time to have an interest in myself and my work. Thank you, George. George says very impactful. Thank you. I appreciate that, George. So let's take an example of your goal of getting a specific job. Okay, so some of you are going to be graduating, some of you are going to be finishing up your schooling, and you're going to be looking to move into the working world. Rather than do some random application and apply and send a resume off with hundreds or thousands of resumes that you might submit online that are just going to get lost. There may be bots that it has to get past, and no one ever may never see that. But what you can do is you can ask yourself, who do I know that works there? Or who do I know that can connect me with someone that works there? Because the reality is we are always 1 or 2 degrees, maybe 3, from connecting with anyone in the world. Everyone is just a second or third connection away most of the time. If you look at LinkedIn, where we're broadcasting right now, it's a perfect example of that. When you search for someone's name and they pop up, if I was to search right now for Ikena Victor, all right, I just see your name right there, or George Tasibu. If I was to search you guys, I bet on my LinkedIn, it would show that you're a second or third connection. Because my guess is you're probably connected to Deborah. Or if you're not connected to Deborah, then you're 1 connection away from her, which would make you a third connection to me. So that's where platforms like LinkedIn can be very beneficial, because you realize that you're a lot closer than you think to that individual. Okay. And even if it is a celebrity, even if it is someone that that you realize is may seem far away, they may be right there. Another tool you can use is you can have someone else introduce you. LinkedIn obviously has this feature, but the fastest way to gain someone's trust is through a bridge of someone else. When Allison introduced me to Deborah, and Deborah and I connected over email through the introduction of Allison, and then we exchanged a couple emails, there was automatically an increased level of trust for one another. And I don't want to speak for you, Deborah, but for one another, because we were introduced by a common colleague, by a friend. And yes, Deborah's giving us a thumbs up. So if a friend introduces you to someone, automatically there's going to be a little bit of increased trust there, probably a lot, depending on who's introduced you. A great example of this is a restaurant. If you're looking for a place to eat and a friend of yours says, oh my gosh, you have to go to this new Thai place. It's great. The food is amazing. You're going to love it. And they hype this place up. Guess what? You walk into that place, or you make a reservation for that place, already having those expectations in your mind. Hey, this place is going to be great. The food's going to be amazing. So even if the food was average, you may say, oh, I loved it. It was such an incredible experience. It was awesome, because it was already hyped up in your mind. And that's the kind of experience that you want to have when you're introduced to someone. So if someone introduces, like when Allison introduced Deborah and I, she's like, hey, you two are really going to connect. You're working on a lot of the same things. You're both doing amazing work. You two should connect. There was that bridge, what's called trust transference. There was the transfer of trust from me with Allison to me to Deborah, and Deborah back to myself. What do you guys think about that trust transference? Do you think you've seen that in your work? Have you seen that in school, in work, in business, even with your friends? Have you seen that trust transference come to play?
I see a lot of applause emojis here.
Okay.
And heart emojis. Feel free to also write in the comment section. That is something that we as speakers can see directly. We can't see the emojis as well. So feel free to share your thoughts via the comment box as well as the emojis, because it's nice to see those floating on throughout the screen.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Deborah. And yeah, for those of you that don't know, when you stream on LinkedIn, you guys have to use an external platform. So we're using StreamYard, and StreamYard shows you the comments with a delay, as we said, but it doesn't show all the other emojis and the hearts and everything. So appreciate the support there. Yeah. Yes, I've seen it definitely at work. I agree with that. I've of course, very true. Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. And Aphrodite says, oh, yes. So one little pro tip for you guys before we move on is if you've already, and this is a great thing to take down as a note if you're taking notes, if you've already made a connection, all right? Let's say there's someone you've been wanting to connect with on LinkedIn. You reached out on LinkedIn. You said, hey, it would be great to connect. You know, I see we have some similar connections. Let's connect. LinkedIn's a very benign platform. The chances of someone connecting are pretty high. So let's say that person, even if they're, famous or something, they might say, oh yeah, well, sure, you can connect. All right. If you want to increase that trust transference, take that up a notch, what you can do is you can have two people send them messages about you once you've already made a connection. Okay, so it might look something like this. All right, I want to connect with Deborah. I see her as someone that I'd like to have in my network. I send her a message. Deborah doesn't know who I am, but Deborah says, yeah, this Rick person, I'll add him to my network. Okay, all of a sudden, Allison sends 3 days later, Allison sends a DM to Deborah and says, oh, hey, have you connected with Rick yet? I know he was interested because he says your work is amazing and he loves everything you do and he'd really like to support you. You should really connect with him. Okay, then Deborah's like, oh, yeah, great. Yeah, we connected. And then another day, Aphrodite sends a message that says, oh, hey, Deborah, Rick told me he connected with you and he's so excited about that because he wants to learn more about your work and wants to see how he can support you. Now, do you see how that has boosted me in Deborah's eyes all of a sudden? Because she's like, wow, this Rick person, like everybody loves him. He's great. I better, reach out and find out more about him and find out more about his work. You have just bumped everything, elevated it up multiple levels in that person's eyes. And so it will just help immensely in that regard. So Sandra says networking volunteering assisted her in getting a senior management position. Absolutely. A lot of people, there's that old saying, it's not what you know, but who you know. And if you know someone in an organization or they help make an introduction, then that can be all it takes to get the position that you're looking for. And Sandra says, yes, exactly. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying. So I have a tool for you. For some of you that are thinking, hey, this is a bit much. This is something that may be kind of difficult for me. I have a tool that I'm going to provide you. Okay. And it is called the Top 20 Connection Tool. And I'm actually going to provide it as a PDF. If you can make your own, but if you want a PDF where it's already done for you, hopefully through the network, Deborah can get it out to you if you're on her email list, or we can send this out. I guess I should have asked you that first, Deborah. But this is a tool that we can get out to you, at least the PDF, to make it easy. Okay, and this is called the Top 20 Connection Tool. This is something that was taught to me by one of my coaches and has been immensely helpful, and it has helped them grow their business to be highly, highly successful. As you'll notice, it has 4 columns. It has top 20 connections, influence, help, and total score. What you want to do is you want to write down the names of 20 people in your life who can possibly help you. Now, this will be in regards to a certain goal. Okay, so let's say, for example, we'll use the same example we use because I know a lot of you would be finishing school. Let's say you want to get a certain position. Okay, so let's say you want to get a senior management position at this organization, like Sandra had said. You want to get the senior management position. You will start. You will write down 20 people that can possibly help you in accomplishing that goal. They may be people that work there. They may be people that have similar positions. They may be people that know people that work there. They may be people that just you feel that they're going to help you. Maybe it's your mom. Maybe it's your sister, your brother. They're definitely going to help you. All right. Then in column 2, thanks, Ikenna. Then in column 2, you're going to rank each person on a scale of 1 to 10 on how influential they are when it comes to helping you get what you want. So if the goal is getting that job, getting that senior management position, how influential are they at you getting that position? Now, let's say that they're an executive that works at that company. I'm going to say they're pretty influential because they're probably could be the one that hires you at you getting that position. Okay. Then you're going to rank them on 1 to 10, 10 being the most influential, 1 being the least influential. Then column 3, you're going to rank how likely are they to help you? Again, on a scale of 1 to 10. Let's take our example of the VP that could hire you. They might be a 10 on influential, but maybe you don't know them. Maybe you met them at a networking event one time, or maybe you're connected with them on LinkedIn, but nothing else. Then you're going to rank them maybe a lower number, maybe a 2 or a 3 or some number lower, because you don't see them as likely to help you. You don't really have a relationship with them. Okay. And then you're going to add up the score, and then you're going to total it in the 4th column. And what you want to do is you want to copy this over or sort your names if you're doing it digitally to where you have the highest scores at the top of the list. So what would a high score be? A score would be a connection that you have. So let's say your connection is Allison, and Allison, on influential scale of me getting that job, I'd say she's an 8 on me getting that position. And how likely is she to help me? Well, we're pretty good friends, so I say I could ask her for a favor and she's going to help me. She's a 10. So her total score is an 18. That's pretty high. The total score that anyone could get would be a 20. You might rank, let's say your mom's the VP at the organization that you want to get hired at, and she's your mom. That's a 10 and a 10 probably. You're going to rank her as a 20. But let's say for our example, Allison's an 18. So then what you're going to do is you're going to reach out to that person. Okay? If they are a high score, if there's someone that is 18, 19, 17, 16, someone that's pretty high, you're going to reach out to them and you're going to let them know what you're seeking to accomplish. And you're going to see how they can help you. Now, I'm not talking about a direct act like, hey, can you help me get this job? No, it's more of a conversation of, hey, I'm looking to get this position. I know you work there. You have some knowledge on that. I want to see what I can do to help improve my chances, and chat with you about that. Okay. And there's a high likelihood, if you've ranked them accordingly, there's a high likelihood that they're going to help you. Now, let's say, are you guys tracking? Is that making sense? If you can put in the, Deborah, if you can tell me if you're getting, thumbs up or emojis, or if you guys can put in the comments if you're tracking, if that makes sense.
Yeah, let's see some of those emojis and comments.
How to use the tool.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, my goodness, I wish I knew about this ago. Why didn't I hear about this before? It's one of those things that, why didn't I hear about One Health 20, 30 years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
One of those things. But wow, this is so helpful for me. And it looks like Sunaina said, yes, this is helpful. I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up here. Where are the hearts, guys?
I'll take a thumbs up. Well, awesome. Okay, so what about the people that are lower on your list? All right, because I know some of you they might be lower. So here's a pro tip. Seek to add value first. That is the biggest thing that if you can take away anything from this presentation, seek to add value in the relationship. It goes back to that quote early on. It's not about you getting what you want, which is how I looked at networking 30 years ago. No, what I've learned over the years, it is about adding value, helping others. Always seek to help first. Okay. So those are the top of the list. Yes, that might be an easy ask, like I said, but the people towards the bottom, or in the middle, they're going to need some warming up. So instead of going for some ask like, hey, can you help me make this introduction? Can you, get me a call with this person? Think about how you can add value to them first. So what does that look like? Okay, look to support them however you can. It may be coming on to Webinar Wednesdays and doing a webinar for their community, right? It may be you sending them some resource or an article that you feel that they will find interesting, that will be beneficial for their work. So there's someone that I want to connect with that is an editor of a very large and well-known business publication. And I started, I subscribe to his blog. And so I see, or his newsletter, blog, whatever it is. And I see articles that he puts out. So I started sharing articles. I'm like, oh, hey, I love that article that you wrote. And here's an article that I think you'll love that talks about that from a slightly different viewpoint. And in that, we started responding, we started developing relationship, we started talking about how we can work together and collaborate. And I love what Ibrahima says, authentic. Yes, it is authentic. You are not looking to be self-serving. You are looking to help others and support others. Now, here is the key. This is the key. Oh, shoot. This last one, so important. Go into the relationship without any expectation of anything in return. You are not, yes, you may have that goal of getting that job or meeting that person or connecting with them, but you are not helping this person. You are not sending that article. You are not commenting on their work. You are not supporting their course. You are not going and volunteering at their event with the expectation that they're doing anything. You are just doing it to support them and help them. And that is the energy that is going to return you. You can look at it as good karma. You can look at it as fate, or however. That is the energy that is going to return those relationships in the long run. Tara says insightful. Yes, thank you very much. And yes, I hope, Mohammed, yes, we should be able to get you the PDF. If not, I'll find some way to put it on LinkedIn or some other way. And this is key. And I don't know if you all know who Zig Ziglar is. You all are pretty young, but he was big when I was your age. And a speaker, author, very influential guy. And it's a very famous quote of his, says, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. And that's what I found is the secret. That's part of why I founded iSpark Change. That's part of our mission at iSpark Change, is to support others and empower them and to elevate their work and amplify their work so more people have eyeballs on it. And that's taking the mentality that Zig Ziglar says, is that when you go out with that heart of service, that, it's not a new concept. I mean, it was preached 2,000 years ago, but if you go out with that heart of service, then that is what is going to, you will get to your goals in the end. That is the biggest secret. Like I said, that seeking value. Here's a bonus for you high achievers. I know there's lots of you high achievers out there, and we're wrapping up here. The reality is, unfortunately, that a lot of you that are on this webinar will not take action on what I'm presenting. Okay, 80% of you, statistically speaking. Okay, I'm not just speaking about you guys. I'm just talking statistically speaking. The statistics show that a lot of you will say, hey, that was interesting, that was great, and will never act on what was shared. Okay, about 15 to 20% will take some notes and you'll go a little deeper. And maybe one day, 3 months from now, you're looking to get a job, you'll say, oh, what was that thing that guy taught us? What was that tool? I think it's in my email somewhere. Where is it? You'll dig it up and you'll try to find your notes, and maybe you'll act on then, and you won't really remember exactly. Okay. But 1 to 5% of you are going to act immediately and are going to start working on this today. And that's when I coach people, that's what I push them to be, is that, top 1%, top 5%, to be the best version of themselves. Because you don't accomplish a goal by being the person you are today. You accomplish a goal by being the person you need to be to accomplish that goal. So for example, if you want to make $1 million and currently you're making $50,000 annually, you don't accomplish the $1 million goal by being the person that makes $50,000. You accomplish the $1 million goal by being the person and doing the things that someone who makes $1 million annually does. And so you start living into that goal. So if you want to have success, you have to do those things that high achievers do. So what does that look like for this particular tool? It's going to be taking that tool that I just told you about, right? The top 20 connection tool, or writing your own on a sheet of paper, adding a minimum of 5 names to your list today, finding someone to hold you accountable, sharing that list with them so you can hold them accountable, they can hold you accountable. That increases your potential of accomplishing a goal by 2/3 if you have someone hold you accountable. And then reach out to at least one of those people by the end of today, not tomorrow, by the end of today. And Ikenna says that he's going to act immediately. Thank you very much. And then make this tool a useful tool in your arsenal of success, which means create new lists for new goals and continue cultivating this process every day. I've created lists for multiple things, and this has helped me accomplish multiple things in my career that I want to accomplish. Right now for iSpark Change, we just launched a podcast, and iSpark Change, a podcast. What iSpark Change is about, our mission is to empower others to elevate their social impact and spread positive change. And we do that through leadership and coaching and our podcast and speaking and amplifying the work of others, like One Health. And in doing so, that helps us to reach goals. So for a lot of those different goals, I have created lists like that, and I've made connections and have cultivated relationships. In the past couple of years, I've connected with hundreds of people from all over the world and have sought to add value wherever I can. So for those of you that are going to take action like Ikenna, I applaud you and I commend you for wanting to be part of that top 1%. Just remember, in closing, you can connect with anyone you want in the world. So act now and you can make it happen. I'll take any questions if any of you have questions there. And if Deborah, I don't know if you want to stop the screen share, or I will go back to, oops, I'm trying to go back to there. If people can see, if you want to jot down on a piece of paper before you have it, remember it's top 20 connections, one column, influence, help, and then you score it. And then you add the total score.
So helpful, Rick. This has been absolutely amazing. Man, I wish I knew this years ago. Wow. Wow, there's so much to dig into. I guess I'll start because of the technology delay there to answer somebody's question about the PDF. The PDF will be in the next newsletter with One Health Lessons. If you don't know about the newsletter, that means that you're not a part of the Certified Lesson Leader program. So join the Certified Lesson Leader program, improve your science communication skills while at the same time teaching others in your community about One Health. And then with that, you'll have access to the newsletter and we'll have that PDF there. I have to say, what you just said, Rick, is really the formula to being a change maker. And what you have with iSpark Change is exactly that, highlighting the change makers in the world. And thank you again for highlighting One Health Lessons in your organization. It was been so meaningful. But it's also other humanitarians around the world, right? It's people who want to make a positive impact on the world, be it in the lives of people or lives of animals, improve the environment and the well-being of people and animals, and as well as having healthy ecosystems, which of course One Health Lessons works towards. So I'm seeing here comments here. iSpark Change, the goal is adding value. Yes, Exactly. iSpark Change. Follow it on, if you're on Instagram, what you have with iSpark Change, what, 20,000 followers?
Yeah, we're getting close to 25. So that's our largest platform is Instagram, and it's just at I_spark_change. You can follow us there. You can find us on Facebook. You can go to www.isparkchange.com, and you can join our Spark Change, our community. We're in the early phases of building our global community, which will become the world's first social media platform that connects. It's a central hub to connect people that are doing good all over the world. So that's our goal, is to impact and connect 1 billion people in the next 5 years. So once we have that all rolled out, we're just early phases. And I do want to get, because there was a question about what's the most common misconception about networking and how do we work on it. I'd say the biggest misconception, as at least as it was for me and as I've seen with others, is they don't go out with that heart of service. They go out just wanting to take. Ooh, who can I meet that's going to, how can this person help me? How can this person help me? How can they help me get what I want? And that's very short-sighted. It doesn't last. You end up damaging relationships, and people see right through that. So earlier in the comments, someone said, it comes across as fake, and that's where it can come across as fake, is when you're just trying to, exchange pleasantries, looking for the ways that that you're going to, what can you get out of that relationship, and that's not the way you want to approach it. I can always also says, how do you manage to overcome decline of connection despite bringing up a nice idea? Great question. I love that question. Okay. Seek to add value. So my mentor, there was a producer that had a role in a Broadway play that she wanted to be in. She literally, for over a year, every month she'd send something. She'd send an update on what she was doing. She'd tell him about herself. She'd send stuff that he would like. Just be what I like to call pleasantly persistent. Okay, so you're not being irritating. You're not spamming someone. You're not just DMing them all the time. I know I get messages like that on LinkedIn and on Facebook and everything, where people are just, over spamming, trying to sell me something. And that, you can see that's inauthentic. It comes across terrible. So what you want to do is you just want to always value. So if you share something, if they don't like it, you just share it. You share it, and you continue to share. And just because it's a no now, a no doesn't mean that it's a no forever. It's just a not right now. And then also look for other, one last thing, and then look for other opportunities to connect with that person. So other people that can introduce you and say, oh, hey, I hear so-and-so has been trying to reach you for a long time. Have you talked to them finally? So Deborah, are you going to add something?
Oh my gosh, I completely agree with what you just said. I see sometimes people who I don't know, there's no relationship with them, and they just write hello as if to get my attention, but there's nothing else. So what do you have to say to those people? I think they're trying to network, but I have no idea what they want.
Yeah, sometimes I'll just put out a generic answer, hey, thanks for connecting, and see what their intentions are. Often I find those real basic ones, it's just someone that's trying to sell you something, but but I'll just put that out there. I think it can also be, like you said, people that they just don't know, how to do that, or they're not used to building relationships and through social media. But let's see. Kimia says, how many ways do you think there are to add new people to your list of new connections? I mean, how can we find others with similar goals and passions? That's where it takes doing the work. It takes putting in some research. See who, a good trick on social media is like Instagram is to see who they follow. See who they follow and what their interests are. You can look at that on Instagram. You can see who anyone follows. You can go on a celebrity and see who they follow. So see what their interests are, who they follow. And then, depending on adding people to your list, I mean, it would be focused on a specific goal you have. So if your goal is to get that certain job or to meet a certain individual, or whatever it is, make a certain connection, really try to tailor it towards, that specific goal. And just like Deborah said, I should have to prove myself before I admit to a group. How do I do that if I have no access to her network to show what I can do? Okay, so it's not necessarily Coley, it's not necessarily proving yourself. It's just adding value. Okay, it's just adding value. It's just being that person that is supporting. And even if you don't know what that looks like, you try to get an idea as best as you can from looking at that individual and seeing what they follow and seeing what their interests are to add value. Even if it's as simple as you follow someone on Instagram, and when they post, you don't just like it. You don't just do the double tap. You don't just put an emoji, but you send a thoughtful comment. You say, hey, I really like what you were talking about, Deborah. The other, when you were saying there about, helping our planet. I really like that. That really resonated with me. And here's why. I believe blah, blah, blah. And you show that you have some common beliefs in there. That's going to help you make a connection to that individual. So even if that's where you start, then you can start there.
Well, I want to respect your time, Rick. I know that we were meaning to do maybe 20 minutes, but this is
20, 30 minutes, but 45. Hey, Q&A is good. And I know we had some intro there, so that's okay. But I'll make sure I get the PDF to you guys, or to Deborah so she can get it out to you. Yeah. I'm not on the newsletter. I got to get on the newsletter. You all need to get it. We have a newsletter too. It goes out monthly, where we spotlight people that are doing great in the world. But yeah, you can, if you go to Join iSpark Change, you'll get our newsletter as well on a monthly basis. And then, or the podcast, you can check out the iSpark Change podcast. It's on all platforms. And we just got on some global international platforms, like in India and some other countries. So that's great for some of the people that we have that are from all over the world.
Love it. It looks like there's one final question, if you don't mind, Rick.
Doris, how do you keep in touch with people you've made connections with? You just continue to do so. You just continue to be that pleasantly persistent. You continue to nurture that relationship. Any relationship that has developed to be like, if you think about Doris, any friend that you have, the components that help them become a friend are time and some type of interchange. So let's say it was a classmate that you spent a lot of time together in class, you had common interests, you started having an interchange of information. And so the more you can spend time and increase that interchange, that's going to develop that relationship. And it doesn't matter if it's online, if it's from across the world, it doesn't really matter. It may take a while. It may take a while. You may have to cultivate a relationship like my coach did for a year before it resulted, or sometimes longer. But the people that do that are the ones that have the most success.
So helpful. And with that, I thank you so much, Rick. I do encourage everybody to follow iSpark Change. It's a phenomenal organization, as you have heard. So why not support others who are supporting many others around the world? I'm seeing so many thank you responses. Thanks for the presentation, Rick. It is very important to add that passion to having a drive and making added value without immediate returns. That's what Rick says, and so true. If you want to be a change maker, go in it with a whole heart and don't expect anything coming back. Right? Appreciate you, Rick, for all you do. Thank you for speaking and getting iSpark Change. This was such a great presentation. Thanks so much, Rick and Deb, for organizing this. It's a pleasure, Cora Day, and it looks like more people are starting to follow iSpark Change and Rick. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everybody, for your participation. Yeah. This is the first interactive Webinar Wednesday event. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, comment so that I can keep track. And I wish you all a good night, a good afternoon, a good morning, wherever you are on this beautiful planet.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Take care.